Hey, you remember Mr. T?
I sure do.
Well, this is Mr. PB. I'm Martino, that's John. And me and PB, along with our dear friend Steve from Joseph's Landscape, we were at the World Series last night, granting a wish for a little 14-year-old boy named Joseph Chang, who's fighting leukemia. Now, even though the Phillies lost, God won, because that boy's life was changed. What do you think?
It was awesome.
Pretty amazing.
So I don't know if there's such a thing as like, the Phillies and Jesus, because if you're in Houston, you're saying it's the Astros and whoever it is, but we'd sure like to see them win tonight and go up a game and split when they go to Houston and take the series. What do you think, Gianna?
I'm praying for them.
We sure are wearing the gear, right?
Yeah.
I like that Phillies got bling on us. I think they're probably stepping up their game.
That's right.
So
anyway, but people had some guy want to buy this for me.
Yeah, and you know what you said? Did I embarrass you or not?
Yeah, I said, yeah, you probably get it for $20. He wanted to give me $20, but I said it was a gift. I can't.
I bought it for him for $35. He was going to sell it for $20.
Yeah, so hey, that's $20 I wouldn't have had.
Unbelievable.
But anyway, so we're picking up where we left off last week, which was key issues to the 2022 election.
Yes.
You know what's really interesting? So I had done a research, and we looked at the 5 top issues that concern people today when they walk into the voting booth. Now, what's really interesting here is, depending on the media source will tell you these are the key issues. For instance, if you're watching one of the left media sources, they're going to say the key issue is abortion, and they'll hide everything that is the key issue.
Right.
But the reality is the key issues were, number one, what do you think it was, Gianna?
I would say the economy or abortion.
What would you say? Remember?
Inflation and economy.
Yeah, inflation and economy was by far hands down. It was interesting tonight. So my wife sitting at the table and working on the computer for the gallery, and she had come back from the grocery store. She said, "You know what's interesting? She either paid $4 or $5 for a head of lettuce."
I've seen that.
That's what's
It was like $4.59.
Yeah, and she said, "I used to buy this for 99 cents." 99 cents. Is that crazy?
Yeah. Cool.
So clearly, I think inflation is the number one issue. We looked at this last week. Just a gas, for instance, is up 49%. Diesel fuel is up 55%, and everything comes by truck. Right?
Right.
Groceries have risen 24%. And I think it's more than that. But and then we just looked at all these things, and then we got to abortion, and we talked about this a little bit last week, because in my mind, this is the only thing that the left has to push. I mean, because everything else is disastrous, isn't it?
It is, and it's a shame, because in this country, I believe it's safe to say that abortion will never be 100% illegal. It's to try to keep women or couples from using it as birth control. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, my wife's in the jewelry store last week, and she's overhearing a conversation in the back room. So the guy says, "Well, who are you voting for?" Well, we don't have a senator up, but they're talking about the senators. So the guy says, "Well, I got 2 daughters, so that ought to tell you who I'm voting for." And I thought to my wife, she said, "I didn't feel I had the right to intrude into the conversation because it was in the back room and I wasn't there, but I would have said, yeah, you ought to tell them that they've got 2 daughters. Did they want to live with their conscience after they murdered a child in the womb?" You know what I mean? I don't think so. So in a sense, he's building his whole vote. When there are 20 issues we're going to look at here, he's building his whole vote on one issue.
Now, that's kind of unconscionable, because last night at the game, Bruce Springsteen came out, and the whole stadium booed him. Now, people thought they booed him because he was a Biden fan. Truth was, he had an Astros hat on.
Yeah.
But that sparked a conversation with a woman behind me, and my son, who's more tenacious than I am, was like, "What? You like the way this country's going right now with Biden?" And I was like, all right, relax. And I said, and she said to me, she simply said, do you like Trump? And I said, well,
So what does Trump have to do with it?
Well, this is where she wanted me to go. I said, I'm not going to say if I like Trump or not like Trump. I can say there's things about Trump I don't like. But what I do like, that when Trump was in office, our gas was cheaper. There was no war in Afghanistan. There was no war in Russia. Our 401ks looked a lot better. Our lettuce didn't cost $5. Our gas didn't cost $4 to $5. So you do the math. And she said,
and we didn't have a border crisis. So we didn't have a crime crisis.
So I said, and we didn't have Asian hate crime. And she looked at me and she said, you're a good person. That's what she said.
See, because you cut through what is somebody's like, what do you call that when somebody has a sugar daddy, or that's the only
just
thing
a political
they see.
agenda.
Yeah.
I'm not about a political agenda. I'm about we are human beings. We are creations of God Most High. And if we work together for the greater good, all things will work.
Right. And we looked at this subject of abortion last week, so we won't look at it again. But that was the number.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah.
David Spencer said Pastor Bruce for President of the United States, and wait, Martino for Vice President.
It'd be Moses and Aaron. I'd let Martin be my spokesperson because he's good at it.
Yeah. Go Moses.
Somebody had last night on the score. Somebody said, was it Harper for president? Remember?
Yes.
At the game last night.
They did say Harper for president.
But then we didn't even touch on crime. But crime is completely out of control. Years ago, one thing like this would have made the news. It would have dominated the news. Now it's like it doesn't exist because nobody wants you to know that it exists.
Because they say if you steal something, if it's worth $1,000 or less, you can't even call the cops, or you can, but they're not going to arrest them. I mean, that's a fact. You can look it up.
Right.
It's just we change our policies for the actions of the new generation, which is so backwards. That's how we're going to lose the country.
And you know what? One of the issues was education, and that's why we're losing our education. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We keep dumbing down our education. Oh, they don't have to take tests anymore to see if they qualify. Or can they actually pass the 3 R's? Reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I mean, I got 2 grandsons that are juniors and sophomores, and it's like they'll go me for I, and I've always corrected him, but I hide behind my mom. I say that's Nana talking. She's an English teacher, but I'm thinking, come on, guys, it's just So now let's talk about the border. This is really bad. I mean, people don't realize this, but this is affecting everyone. Millions have come across our border. What? They need health care. They've got to be put somewhere. Who's going to take care of them? Most of them can't speak English. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, I don't think it's not that we shouldn't be, because the Lord said all throughout the Old Testament that they were to treat the alien right, and they were to give them rights, and so forth. But you do have a certain vetting system that should be. I think Joanna. I mean, she was 8 or 9 years before she got her citizenship.
Look, at the end of the day, if we were to just go into Russia or Korea, you and I, let's take a road trip, we'd be in jail for the rest of our life, and lucky if we made it out.
Correct.
But we're not them. We are America.
Yeah.
We are in God. We trust.
And we do open our arms.
Correct. And we should, like Christ did. However, as you said, you got two teams, Democrat, Republican, who hate each other. So this one says, let's not build a wall, so let's take a bus and dump them on Martha's Vineyard. Then this one says, let's dump them at the White House. Are we forgetting these are real human beings? There should be laws in place to allow immigrants, like your parents were immigrants, my parents or grandparents were immigrants, your grandparents were immigrants. There should be legal ways, just like they did it back when they all crossed through Ellis Island.
Right. No, there should be. There should be ways that they can become citizens, that we help them do that. And instead, the whole idea, I mean, literally, we talked about this last week. So what happened was they're just crossing into these southern states, and the southern states on the borders, they can't handle. So when they decided they were going to pack them up, because Biden was shipping them in planes and dropping them all over the place at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Unconscionable.
And then all of a sudden these cities are saying, oh, where'd these people come from? So those on the southern border decided, we're going to deliver them to Washington, D.C. We're going to take them to Massachusetts and places where they're supposedly open. Well, they found out. Look, New York didn't want them. None of these places wanted them once they
New
started
York
delivering
has
them.
so many homeless people. How could they even sustain that kind of
if we're going
infiltration?
If we're going to bring people in, we have a responsibility, right? To make sure they're not criminals and they're not going to repeat crime. The price tag, are we going to be able to pay for it? The housing, the medical care, the education, all those things should be considered. Just don't dump somebody somewhere and say you're on your own.
It's like they're kidnapped kids right now.
Yeah. So when you vote in November, my prayer is that you look at this whole picture and say, as your son said, do you want us to keep going in the direction we're going? I hope not. 2 more years of this?
That's what
be?
My son said to a random stranger at the game, and when we explained why we felt that way, she said, "You're a good person."
Every retired person is going to have to work for a living because their retirement funds are going to be gone. So most polls list these 4 as top issues, and the other was education, and this is what's really sad, because now instead of us teaching people how to survive in life by learning to read, write, do math, reason, all that, they're getting racism, which only adds to the racism, in my opinion.
That's what Morgan Freeman said.
Yeah, quit talking about it. And I think we talk about it because we have people who are black on our staff.
Well, you have a black granddaughter.
Yeah,
let's call it what it is, right? And I have a million black friends, and so do you. So we don't segregate our circle as who's black, who's white, because we're all creations of God, right? That's how our brains think. But the brains of the world don't think like the brains of children of God.
Yeah. Well, when somebody says, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, that's racism.
That's racism.
You know what I mean?
There's even a commercial about a voter, and it says to all the black voters, I hope you see what so-and-so did and
said,
see where your vote's
I mean, I don't understand why this is a black and white issue. This should be, these are the issues. There are moral issues at stake here. Rewriting the definition of marriage, which profanes what God has written. If you're applauding and approving same-sex marriage, I'm sorry, but you are in complete opposition of the Word of God. This doesn't say that as Christians, and you and I do, we have a number of people who live or are homosexuals or live gay lifestyles, and we love them and we accept them, but they know that in our mind, as we look at the Bible and we believe God is the one who created marriage, man and a woman, he put together, right, made them, the two become one, that's God's definition of marriage.
And that they could procreate.
Yeah.
So Adam and Adam can't procreate.
No, they can't. Right. So we talked about racism, sexual identity. Oh my gracious, we talked about this last week.
The cats.
It's like a 3-year-old is going to know if it wants to be a boy or a girl.
Wants to transition.
Yeah. Nobody settles into their profession until they're 29.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. I agree.
And the Christianity religion has no place anymore. We can talk about all these things. It's like I go to court and I watch people swear in. What are they swearing on? They don't put their hand on the Bible. They don't say and swear in the name of God. They what is this? We are our own final authority,
One nation under Washington.
Yeah. And then foreign policy. Look at this debacle we're in right now. Correct? The Afghanistan debacle. Still haven't corrected that. Ukraine. How long is that going to go on? And do you think these foreign countries consider us weak or strong?
Weak.
Yeah. And then we have freedom of speech. We have this complete cancel culture. It was so weird. So I'm listening to the news and they're talking about shadow banning. Do you know what that is, Gianna?
I've heard of it. Like,
hey, if you guys want to chip in, write a few things. Go ahead, Gianna's here. Do you know what that is?
Says something and it blocks what they're saying or something?
Well, what they do is through social media, they put you in the junk mail. So literally, I'm listening to it, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to type in Dr. Oz just for the heck of it. Yeah. No, I know what it was. I had trashed something, and I was trying to find it. Went to my junk mail. My junk mail was loaded with scores of Dr. Oz emails. that were shadow banned. I never got them because the social media, who wants us to be globalists because they want to control our lives, destroy our economy, control our lives, they were shadow banning this, and so they hide that, and that's why the left got ticked off
against freedom
at crazy Elon Musk. Because he said, guess who you wasn't that cool? He carries that sink.
I loved it. I thought it was funny.
But what he was saying was, I'm not going to ban anybody.
Yeah.
And he said, if Trump wants to come back on, he can come back on. I'm not going to ban Herschel Walker or Oz or anybody else if they disagree with the globalists. And that's what it should be. We used to be freedom of speech. That's our First Amendment.
Listen.
You know?
Yeah. Go ahead. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'm with you.
But we're talking about these key issues, and I think these are key issues.
No, they are key issues, but the problem is, or the concern I have is, like, I got my allergy shots this morning, and there's this African American woman that she's on my same schedule, so we become friends. And she has a partner who's a girl, you know, and we've gotten to know each other so much. She knows I play Jesus at the church, and I walked in today, and I usually go in sweatpants. She's like, oh, you're all dressed up. I said, at a funeral. And we just had this engaging conversation. It was not about Democrat or Republican. She knows my position. I know hers. And we still have a caring sensation for each other as humans. That's what it's about. Jesus would not walk into a crowd on a mountain and say, you Democrat, get out of here. You Republican, get out of here. He would say, this is what my Father said.
Yeah, for God so loved the world.
Yes, it's not about it. And, you know, Martin Luther King said it the best. Because he said, don't judge my children by their color, judge them by their actions.
Yeah.
So why are we so asphyxiated on this Democrat-Republican? If Americans would man up and realize that we are so fortunate to be in this red, white, and blue land, that we could really do something that would be a legacy for all of us for generations to come. Instead, it's the opposite right now, I think.
So that's why we're talking about these key issues. Do we want to continue this way in education? Do we want to continue this foreign policy? Do we want to continue this border policy? Do we want to continue to see our economy tank? Do we want to continue to see our retirement gone? You know, if we don't, then what we're saying to you is get out there and vote change.
I agree.
That's what we're saying. That's simple. Do you have your phone, Martin?
Hey, Macarena, somewhere.
Okay.
You never, that when I was doing
do me a favor. You can't go to my Facebook page because you're going to get me live. Yeah, just don't go on the live. I want to read something.
Just go to your Facebook?
Yeah, that I posted today. So then we have this whole issue of gun control, and they're trying to take our guns away because once they do that, what are we don't have anything to fight with.
So let me just say, in states where you're allowed to carry, like Virginia, Texas, they don't have these mass people being killed or people being like abused because guess what? They know. Oh, sorry. They know that the person that they might be going after is going to have a gun. So
the states with the strictest gun laws, by the way, have the most crime. Isn't that interesting?
Really?
Across the board.
Strictest gun laws.
Strictest gun laws. Chicago has the strictest gun laws anywhere. And
sure,
look,
because you know that if you can go up to somebody ATM and say, give me all your money, you know they probably don't have a gun because of those laws. But if you think that they might have a gun, you're not going to rob them. It's yellow and blue make green. Yeah. I repeat that all the time. That's why go to Texas, try to rob somebody. Go to Virginia. Go to Florida. Good luck.
Matza wants attention.
She does.
Hi, honey. You know what else? We didn't even talk about fracking. I mean, energy. They're killing us on the energy thing. Fracking. Where these all-electric cars. Are you serious? What are we going to...
Listen.
Come on.
Okay. When George Jetson was designed in 1980, meet George Jetson, Jane his wife, and the cars that floated, and the electric thing that did the hair, all look good on paper, right? Still not here today, 40 years later. However, this is the same thing with getting rid of fracking and electric cars. Here's why. You destroy the planet, you put these craters the size of Texas in the middle of nowhere that you can never fill. Then you take this lithium that you can't dispose of. Those batteries last for 10 days. They've been 10 years, sorry. They catch on fire in Fort Myers. They were catching them on fire in the hurricane. They've been blowing up randomly. But aside from that, who can afford to replace the battery in 10 years?
Yeah, but the point is, who's going to be able to afford electricity? That's what's going to happen.
Oh, the grids are going to shut
Yeah,
down.
I mean, we can't even supply in our neck of the woods when it gets hot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, use your air conditioners minimum. Look, that Newsom in California told people he couldn't charge their electric cars.
Oh, yes, all that.
Oh my gracious!
So
you
I'm
have
just
electric car,
saying,
but you
think
can't
this
charge
thing
it.
through. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. These are the issues that we need to look at seriously as Christians and say, where do we want to go? I have one more thing. Can you? It died. on me.
Sure, sorry.
Because I want to read this. Because I feel what Martin has been saying all along in this is let's look not only at the issues, but let's look at people, right? So Joel sent me this post today. God makes a habit of picking up a nobody to become a somebody in front of everybody without asking anybody.
I love that.
That was our son Joel sent me this. And so right while I'm reading this quote, I am reading The Chosen. Dr. Angelova gave me a couple of the books of The Chosen. They're 40-day devotionals. Okay. And he's talking about before. Okay. It's called the before. And the woman too insignificant to even have her before recorded, was so precious to Jesus that she became the first person he appeared to after he arose from the dead, the first one to hear his tender voice, the first witness of the culmination of all he claimed to be and do, and she got to tell the boys. And his point was that it's about people. And when they did The Chosen, he said, everybody always focused on Jesus, and trying to get the facts right. And he said, we thought if we focused on the people around Jesus, it really told you who he was.
I believe that.
And you think about it. And so when we're talking about this election, we do talk party because Democrats have their platform, Republicans have their platform. That doesn't mean necessarily when we're local, and we talked about that here.
For sure.
That, they hold those same federal views. But what we're saying is that seriously pray, carefully consider all these issues and say, do you like where we're going? If so, keep voting this administration in.
Yeah,
but if you don't, then vote change.
I would suggest you look 2 years ago at what you spent for gas, what was in your 401k, and what your interest rate would be if you wanted to buy a house.
And it went up again.
Yeah.
Not even 2 years. Let's just go 1 year.
Yeah, and the condition that we're in as a country.
And the war, for crying out loud. Listen, I'm sorry, and if I'm wrong, Pastor Bruce, I know you'll scold me after, but when Hitler was, just the Holocaust, an unconscionable satanic movement, people knew about it, and they turned their head, and one day said someone should have done something. What's the difference between Ukraine, Russia, and all this other Bangladesh, Pakistan, the Christians being beheaded, Afghanistan? What's the difference? That all these things are happening. We all know about it.
Yeah, but the reason why we've taken interest in Ukraine, come on, let's be honest, is because the Bidens have an investment in it.
No, that's why I went past them. I'm saying, what about Afghanistan?
Yeah.
What about Pakistan? You can go on YouTube
And
now.
let's talk about, and globally speaking, Yahoo, Google, we may get Facebook banned now, but and Apple and Gates, all those people they're globalists because they control it.
It's just
That's
right.
the key. I mean, really, if they can shadow ban you, if they can, they took my daughter off of Facebook. Said she posted something sexually explicit and pictures or something. She has all had to do with sexual. Somebody reported her. She has a thrift shop for children. She hasn't posted anything other than clothing.
So what was it?
And now she can't get back on. Nothing. Somebody sent them pictures that wasn't true. They didn't even look at it. They wouldn't even listen to her appeal. And now that's how she basically advertised herself, made her money. Because people would come in because she put her clothes on. They banned her. That's what you're going to get if you get these globalists.
No,
well, listen, we got to hang up. I got to be in Ocean City to do a wedding rehearsal.
Well, let's pray you don't get us
5 o'clock, and I'm not going to make it.
So Hey, be inspired, and if you have any questions or concerns or anything that you'd like us to talk about, feel free to post it. Gianna will let me and PB know. Also, what's this Sunday real fast in church?
I don't know.
Good. Then you'll be surprised at 11:15 live on Facebook. Unless you live in the tri-state area, then you want to be at GCCC,
Yep.
Gloucester County Community Church, 359 Chapel Heights Road.
Right. If you want to make a difference in this election, vote. Listen to what we have to say. Share what we have to say. And Martin, let's close out.
Live
For Jesus, and your life will make a difference everywhere you go.
Go Phillies!
Guys, go out and vote next Tuesday, November
Yep.
8th.
Vote.